hope I can find it.
If that's the one I use, it has tabs.
What's that?
I said it should have tabs.
I'll tell you what. I can't find it. And I'm just going to share it with you. It's Paul's letter to the Corinthians, and it's not exact, but it's close. If I had all the magnificence in my speech, but did not have love for you, I would just be an empty gong and a clanging cymbal. And if I had faith so great that I could look at a mountain and it would move, but if I did not have love, it would be nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love never seeks for itself. It always seeks for the good of the other. My brothers and my sisters, there are three great gifts of God: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these gifts is the gift of love. And this is somehow a quotation of Paul in his letter to the Corinthians. And I'd like to thank you for my invitation to be here today. Leanne, with her famous hat, who's hiding in the back, and Joyce, I got a kick out of your introduction from me, or for me, about my travels from being a Catholic priest to a crazy cop and other careers since. And just really quick, not to talk about me, because it is not about me that I want to speak today, but I did grow up in a wonderful Irish Catholic family. I went into the seminary when I was a very young boy of 13. 12 years later, I was ordained a Catholic priest, and I was a Catholic priest for 7 years, many of them working with kids in trouble, runaway kids, addicted people, in some parishes, and then teaching in some prisons, and ending up in the middle of a civil war in Argentina and studying in Bolivia. And all the time struggling with my faith and my calling, with a real unhappiness with my celibate lifestyle. Deciding eventually to leave the Catholic priesthood and asking God sincerely, I mean this when I think back, what do I do now? And I realized that I loved all of my interactions with law enforcement throughout my time working with kids, and also my dad had been a Connecticut State Trooper. And I said, you know what? I protected and served as a Catholic priest, and now I think I want to protect and serve as a cop. And my story goes on from there, and it's, like I say, not about me today. But I did want to share, when I think and when I was listening to Leanne speak a little bit about my background. Catholic priest, to cop, to this, to that, to this. What does it say about God? And what it says about God to this very second for me is she has a wonderful sense of humor. A wonderful sense of humor. Who would have thought this young kid goes into the seminary, gets ordained, goes to a foreign country, does this, does that, becomes a cop, almost gets killed when a truck hits his cruiser, gets out of that, does this, and down the road ends up getting married to a beautiful Jewish girl named Donna, who's here today, and ends up in a Congregational church in Manchester giving a talk. God has a smile on his face. There's no question. I'd like you to join with me as we take a walk back to Israel and to Moses. And imagine that we're out in California now, not so much in Manchester. And imagine that we've been slaves of the Egyptians for years and years, and we're hungry, and we're hurting, and we've gotten beaten all the time. And we've been starving, and we're looking at one another, and we're saying, where is our God? Why aren't we being delivered? And one of these days, the waters that surround us open up, and we walk through them. And we hear this guy down the street hollering, "Hey, you guys, follow me, my name is Moses. Follow me, I'm heading for the promised land." And everybody gets together, we're all in the same family. And we get together and we follow Moses, we're out in the desert. And we're out in the desert and we're walking from California to Minnesota to who knows where, and it is tiring. And we're hungry. And we're getting really desolate. And we know that there's all kinds of gods all around us because there's the people over in that country, they've got their gods, and there's the Romans, they have their gods, and there's the Greeks, they have their gods, there's the Sumerians, they have their gods, and we're saying, oh man, Babel, help us. Zeus, help us. Oh, anybody up there that's on one of those pedestals, give us a hand here. I can't stand. I'm tired of eating all these locusts. There's got to be a better life. And Moses keeps calling us, come follow me. Come on, don't give up. Wait a minute. There's a burning bush up on that mountain. I see a burning bush, and I look at my friend down next to me as we're walking behind Moses. I said, yeah, Moses is seeing burning bushes. What's he drinking? And Moses goes up to the mountain, and the burning bush speaks to him. And the burning bush says, go down and tell that stiff-necked people, go down and tell those stubborn people, those followers of yours, Moses, they're my people. But they don't believe. They keep worshiping all of these other gods, all the neighbor gods. They keep hollering out to them. Those aren't the people that are going to be helping them. I am their God, and they are my people. Go tell them from the mountain. And Moses said to the burning bush, what do I go tell them? That I was up here talking to a burning bush? Hey, Moses, just go tell my people that I am. Just go tell them that I am for them. And they are for me. And I am the one God, and all those other gods that they've been hollering to and worshiping and acting out and asking for help, they're not their God. I am the one true God. And you go tell my people that I will be their God and they will be my people. And if they ask you my name, you just tell them I am sent you. And all they need to know is that I am for them. That is my promise. I am for them. And Moses goes back down. Okay, you guys, you can stop eating all the locusts. The promised land is near. And guess what? All of those gods that you've been hollering to and those false images you've been making and all those golden calves you've been worshiping, get rid of them. because I am has sent me, and we're heading for the promised land. And the beauty of that Old Testament story is that I am became known to you and me. And his name was Jesus. And I am took on a reality beyond a promise. That word became flesh. And what I love about the New Testament, reflecting on it, is that that man's first miracle was turning water into wine. The party was almost over because they ran out of booze. And it was an awesome wedding, except the guests were really disappointed. Hey, Jesus, what should we do? We're all out of wine. Well, what am I supposed to do? It's your party. If you can only say the word, we can turn this water into wine. Okay, bring the water. We'll turn it into wine. And oh, by the way, if you need some food, bring me some loaves and fishes. We'll take care of that too. And the beauty of all of the New Testament for me, and I am not an expert by any means, I'm a searcher. I'm someone who walks in the dark often. I'm someone who has looked at horrible things sometimes and said, why? I mean that sincerely. And yet I am someone who constantly reflects, just like you, that life has meaning, and that meaning comes very much through our faith. Through our faith. And it's not an abstract faith. God tells us, and so does Christ in his own words, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am with them. Well, how do we define God? God is love. That's how you define God. God is love. He doesn't need a name. He doesn't need anything except faith. God is love. And we who live in love live in God, and God lives in us. We become healers for one another, and that's one of the major themes of our lives, I think. We are called to be healers. Jesus went through his whole life healing people, miracles, and we look at it as though they were miracles from then. We're miracles right now. We're miracles right now. We go up to each other. Someone comes to me and gives me an understanding. I have been healed of my blindness. Someone comes to me and accepts me without conditions. I have been healed of my leprosy. Someone comes to me and lifts me up from my discouragement, or the discouragement I felt when I lost my career and almost my life, and I was just walking around wondering what is going on with my life. And my family and my wife and my daughter and my brother, they lifted me up and they healed me. They said, stand and walk. You have a future. We have a future where love lives, God lives. There are so many horrible things that have happened in our lives. Auschwitz, the horrible massacres that Joyce was speaking of, the deaths of COVID, the curses of serious illnesses and injuries that we all experience. And yet all of those apparent endings always, always promise new life. New life. Even in the darkness, light is always promised. But the reality is, and this is where I am such a learner constantly, we are the light bearers for one another. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, what is your name? My name is love. And if you live in love, you live in God, and God lives in you. A long time ago, I was in Beckley, Appalachia, Beckley Appalachian Regional Hospital in West Virginia for a while, doing some work and learning. And there was a story of an old preacher that came into a church, and he's looking around and he's saying, and all of you men that are out there on Friday nights drinking and smoking your gambling butts off, you're all going to hell. And everybody in the church said, amen, brother. And then he turned around and he looked over there and he said, and all of you men out there that's just never shown up on Sunday except once a year, you all going straight to hell. And everybody's saying, amen, especially these 2 old ladies in the back, they're standing up, amen. And then this preacher turns and he looked up into the back and he said, and you old ladies up in the back that all you do is talk about people and gossip, you all going straight to hell. And one of those ladies turned to the other one and said, now there he goes, he talking about something that he know nothing about. And I'm just sharing with you that I hope I've shared something of what I do know about with you today. Love is patient with one another. It's not easy. With our families, with our friends, with our acquaintances, it's not easy. Love is kind. Kindness is not just ice cream and hot fudge sundaes. Kindness is going above and beyond what we would do for somebody because they're that important to us, because they're that important to God. Love never seeks for itself. It's not all about me. I kid my wife. It's about us. I'm not kidding her when I say that. And ultimately, the reality is there are 3 great gifts of God. Faith. We are here, but we aren't certain. Thomas was a doubter. Lord, Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief. Help my unbelief. We are called to hope. We are called to believe in the light, even in the darkness. And yes, we are called to say yes to one another instead of no. We are called to build bridges to one another instead of walls. And so we do. And I finish as I began. God has a sense of humor. He wants us to be joyous. He really does. There's too many tears. We know that in our own lives. I'm not sharing anything unique to me. He wants us to walk with hope and joy, because walking with despair is not a very easy travel. And I would just like to share with you a poem I wrote many years ago. May the smiling God of sunshine and dreams, of sleeping mountains and quiet kings, of rivers and poets and dreams, may he hold each one of you warm against this rocky earth, his breast, and give you hope and reasons to believe. that each one of your lives is a lovely reflection of His love, whispering forever in this forever lovely breeze. God bless you, and thank you so much for this invitation.
I think you have to come back next week. I don't know.